Soft ambient music fades in. Close your eyes, just for a moment. Take a deep breath. Once more, feel the air as it enters and leaves. Now tell me with honesty, what is beauty to you? Slight pause. Is it the shape of a body? The light in someone's eyes? The symmetry of a face? Or is it something else? Something you don't see but feel? Short pause. We live in a world that tries to measure beauty with rulers, with standards, with formulas, with filters. But true beauty, the kind that lingers, that reaches your soul, doesn't follow rules. It hides in the details, in gestures, in the silence that carries meaning. Soft pause. Beauty might live in a laugh that comes out of nowhere, in a tear that flows without permission, in skin marked by time, or in the voice of someone who speaks with truth. Gentle breath pause. And when we speak of Brazilian women, we're not just speaking of looks. We're speaking of presence, of energy, of history. Brief pause. Because Brazilian beauty lives in the body, yes, but also in every step, in the tone of her voice, in the way she rises, even when the world weighs her down. Pause. She is made of contrast, of light and shade, of strength and sweetness, of faith and resistance. That's why, in this video, we won't try to explain why Brazilian women are beautiful. We'll try to feel it. Soft pause. We'll dive into a beauty that beats in every corner of Brazil, that changes shape, color, rhythm, but stays alive. Always alive. Gentle pause. We'll listen to stories. We'll visit roots. We'll touch memories. We'll honor the Brazilian woman, as she truly deserves. Because talking about her beauty is also talking about Brazil. It's about struggle, about survival, about love, about strength. Slight pause. And maybe, just maybe, by the end of this journey, you'll see beauty differently. Maybe you'll start to notice it in the streets, in your neighbor, in your own mother, or within yourself. Soft breath pause. Welcome. You're not just watching a video, you're stepping into a story. Every word is an invitation. Let's begin. Soft Brazilian instrumental music fades in. Gentle rhythm, subtle percussion. Imagine this. A woman walking through the streets of Salvador, sunlight brushing against her shoulders. Her steps are not rushed. They have rhythm, purpose, presence. Now imagine another in a favela in Rio. She dances while cooking. She hums while sweeping. She moves with life. Short pause. In Brazil, the body is not taboo. It is not hidden. It is not feared. The body is celebrated. From samba circles in the neighborhoods, to maracatu in the streets of Recife, to capoeira under the open sky, movement is part of identity. And Brazilian women, they move with soul. Gentle pause. Since childhood, many Brazilian girls are taught that their bodies are not just things to be observed, but instruments of expression, of freedom, of emotion. To dance is to speak. To sway the hips is to celebrate joy. To walk boldly is to claim space. Short breath. This has nothing to do with sexualization. That's the outsider's confusion. This has to do with cultural inheritance, with comfort, with confidence, with being fully alive in one's own skin. Slight pause. A Brazilian woman walks differently, not for others, but because she carries generations within her. She carries drums in her heartbeat. She carries the forest in her breath. She carries the sea in her hips. Soft music shift, more rhythm now. Think of carnival. To many, it's just a spectacle, a party, but to her, it's ritual. It's ancestry. It's reclaiming joy in a world that often tried to steal it. Every movement in carnival is storytelling, a dance of survival, a dance of resistance, a dance of pride. Gentle pause. And what's most beautiful? It's not just how Brazilian women move. It's how they move. Others. With one glance, they lift. With one gesture, they embrace. With their rhythm, they awaken. With their presence, they inspire. Quiet moment. Breath. You can't teach that kind of beauty. You can't fake it. You can't copy it. It's not made for the camera. It's made for the soul. Short pause. To understand the beauty of Brazilian women, you must pay attention to how they enter a room, how they greet strangers, how they hold space for joy and for grief, sometimes at the same time. This movement is not just physical, it is spiritual. It is a kind of poetry, written with the body. Final soft breath. And maybe now, you're beginning to see. Beauty is not static. It's alive. It dances. And in Brazil, it dances through her.
Soft acoustic guitar with gentle percussion in background. Style is not just about clothing. It's not about brands or trends or what's on a magazine cover. Style is language. And in Brazil, women speak it fluently. Slight pause. Every head wrap tied with care. Every mix of prints that somehow just works. Every bold lipstick on a cloudy day. These are not fashion choices. They are statements. They say, I am here. I am not afraid to be seen. I will not shrink. In a world that often tells women to fade into the background, the Brazilian woman says no. She shows up in color, in confidence, in creativity. She's not dressing for approval. She's dressing for power, for self-celebration. Soft pause. Look at the hair. Curls that were once straightened to please the eyes of others are now worn with pride. Afros rising like crowns. Braids flowing like rivers. A strand, a rebellion, a reclaiming. And that is beauty. Gentle music shift, more vibrant tones. There is courage in every choice. The woman who wears a crop top even when her body is judged. The woman who wears bold colors in a sea of gray. The woman who walks out the door not trying to disappear, but to radiate, because radiance is resistance. Short pause. And what's beautiful? It's not just what she wears. It's how she wears it. Head held high. Eyes forward. Posture that says, I know who I am. There is no single look for the Brazilian woman. She is ever-changing, always experimenting, always evolving. Today it's heels and lipstick. Tomorrow it's sneakers and no makeup. And both are beautiful, because both are honest. Soft breath pause. Authenticity, that's the key. And when a woman chooses to be fully herself, without apology, she unlocks a kind of beauty that no mirror can define. It's not just about how she looks. It's about how she makes others feel. Free, empowered, brave. Longer pause, let the thought breathe. So next time you see a woman who dares to shine, who dresses with soul, who walks with fire, remember, you're not just looking at fashion. You're witnessing freedom. Because Brazilian beauty is not something to be worn. It's something to be lived. Soft ambient music begins, gentle guitar, warm tones, slow tempo. Let's talk about presence. Not just being in a place, but being felt. There's a kind of presence that enters before the person does. You feel it in the air. You feel it in your chest. And Brazilian women carry that presence. Gentle pause. It's in the way they greet you with warmth. A smile that is full, genuine, unfiltered, not forced, not performed, just offered. A gift. Soft breath. A Brazilian woman's smile is more than expression. It's communication. It says, you're welcome here. It says, I see you. It says, let's be human together. Slight pause. In a world that rushes, that isolates, that hides behind screens and silence, she reaches out. With a laugh, with a story, with a hand on your shoulder, just to say, I'm with you. Brief silence. There's beauty in that. In knowing how to connect, not for gain, but from the heart. In asking, how are you, and really meaning it. In offering a coffee and making you feel like family. This kind of affection cannot be bought. It cannot be taught in books. It is lived. It is passed from grandmother to mother to daughter, like a song only they know how to sing. Soft music rises, then settles again. And sometimes it's not loud. Sometimes it's in the silence. A gaze that listens. A pause that holds space. A nod that says, I understand. This is the beauty that stays with you after the conversation is over. That lives in the warmth of the moment. That follows you home. Because affection, real affection, is rare. And when you receive it from a Brazilian woman, you don't forget. You feel seen. You feel valued. You feel alive. Gentle pause. This presence isn't about being perfect. It's about being there completely. With heart. With attention. With truth. Longer breath. And maybe that's what the world needs more of. Less performance. More presence. Less competition. More connection. Brazilian women teach us that beauty isn't just what you look at. It's what you feel long after the moment has passed. Soft close. And if you've ever shared space with a Brazilian woman, truly shared space, you already know. Her beauty doesn't walk away when she does. It stays with you, like a quiet song in your memory, like warmth in your chest, like a truth finally remembered. Low, slow bossa nova instrumental, soft percussion, light bass, ambient keys. Let's talk about sensuality. Not the kind made for ads. Not the one crafted for desire. But the kind that comes from deep within. The kind that isn't trying to impress, but simply is. This is Brazilian sensuality. Gentle pause. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't seek validation. It lives in the walk, the gaze, the stillness between words. Because the Brazilian woman knows. Her body is hers. Her dance is hers. Her energy is hers. And her sensuality is not up for negotiation. Soft breath. She might wear a short dress. She might dance to funk in the kitchen. She might laugh loudly in the street. And some will misunderstand that freedom. They'll try to label it, control it, diminish it. But she knows that sensuality is not performance. It is awareness. It is being in harmony with her own being. It is the quiet confidence of someone who has nothing to prove. Soft musical shift, more atmospheric. This power is ancient. It flows from her ancestors. From women who loved and labored, who resisted and danced, who survived and created beauty anyway. This sensuality is not about showing skin. It's about showing soul. A soul that moves without fear, that knows its worth, that holds space with dignity. Slight pause. And maybe the world isn't used to this kind of power, because it can't be sold. It can't be controlled. It can't be faked. It just exists. You see it in how she looks at the world. With clarity, with strength, with softness that does not mean weakness. She knows she is desired. But more than that, she knows she is valuable. And that is what changes everything. Quiet moment. This is the kind of beauty that disarms, that confuses those who only understand power through domination. Because she is powerful through presence, through self-respect, through grace. Soft pause. And perhaps the most stunning part of it all is that she doesn't need to be seen. She just chooses to be. And when she does, she lights up a room. Not because she tries to, but because she's aligned. Free. Closing breath, calm and firm. That is sensuality. Not a performance, but a truth. And Brazilian women carry that truth. In every step, in every laugh, in every pause. Between the music and the movement. Background music, soft piano and cello, slow, cinematic, emotional. Let's talk about strength. Not the kind that shouts. Not the kind that breaks. But the kind that builds. Quiet, consistent, resilient. The strength of the Brazilian woman is not always loud, but it is always present. It's in the woman who wakes before the sun, who prepares breakfast, dresses her children, and heads to her job, sometimes 2, maybe 3. It's in the woman who studies at night, who takes the bus with tired eyes and a determined heart, who dares to dream, even when the world tells her not to. Soft pause. It's in the mother who raises a child alone, in the daughter who becomes the provider, in the grandmother who never learned to rest. These women do not ask to be seen, but they deserve to be. Because this is beauty. Slow, rising emotion in music. Beauty is not only in softness, it's in sacrifice, in patience, in enduring what others couldn't even imagine. The Brazilian woman carries a nation on her back and still finds a way to smile, to dance, to care, to love. Soft breath. She leads protests and sings lullabies. She runs businesses and braids hair in the morning. She teaches, she heals, she feeds, she inspires. And when she's tired, she still shows up. That's power. That's beauty. Slightly longer pause. She faces violence. She faces prejudice. She faces judgment. But she does not break. She bends. But like bamboo, she rises again, and again, and again. Because inside her is the history of women who refused to disappear. Women who were enslaved, but never surrendered their spirit. Women who were silenced, but taught their daughters how to roar. Women who were told they were less, but knew they were more. Breath, warm, reverent. And today, that legacy lives on. In every step a Brazilian woman takes. She may not wear a crown, but she wears strength on her shoulders, like an invisible armor. She may not ask for praise, but she deserves it every day, because true beauty is not just in what survives, it's in what keeps everything around it alive. Gentle piano outro begins. So next time someone asks, why are Brazilian women so beautiful? Tell them, because their beauty is felt. It's in their stories, in their courage, in their power to love. Even when the world is unkind, they are the soul of Brazil, and their beauty is eternal.